My name's Donald Trump, and I'm the largest real estate developer in New York.
$1 million. That's what Donald Trump says his father gave him. But this isn't a story about money. This is a story about a little boy, a cold father, and an empire built on the desperate need for approval.
I had billions of dollars of debt, in excess of $5 billion. I had $975 million worth.
A story about how that $1 million turned into $3.7 billion.
Forbes magazine says I'm worth a lot. Would I say that I'm worth $5 billion?
$5 billion.
I would say I'm worth more than $5 billion, but it's irrelevant.
And how a real estate heir became president of the United States. Queens, New York, 1940s. While the world was at war, a man named Fred Trump was building an empire, block by block, house by house. They called him the Henry Ford of housing. By 1942, he had built over 2,000 homes across Brooklyn and Queens.
And I started off making little deals in Brooklyn and Queens with my father, and they seemed to work out.
His formula? Simple. Affordable housing for America's middle class. But Fred Trump wasn't just building houses. He was building a legacy.
He said, I think Donald Trump is an artful liar. I think he is a greedy, vicious, and arrogant man.
Well, I don't know, is that supposed to be a compliment or not? I'm not sure.
Inside the Trump household, success wasn't just encouraged, it was demanded. Fred Trump ran his family like he ran his business, with iron discipline and relentless ambition.
I was at the highest of all pedestals, the hottest in the country. Everything I touched turned to gold. And then one day,
Donald's mother, Mary, was often absent, plagued by health issues that kept her from being the nurturing presence her children needed. This left young Donald in the shadow of his father, a man who measured love in dollar signs and respect in newspaper headlines.
I sort of love and hate him at the same time. I mean, I think he has, a monumental ego.
He comes off as being very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Arrogant?
Yeah, he's arrogant.
I like him.
You do?
Man's got it made, got everything.
But here's where the story takes its first turn. Donald wasn't supposed to be the heir of the Trump empire. That role was meant for his older brother, Freddie. Freddie Trump was everything his younger brother wasn't. Gentle, laid back, more interested in flying planes than building empires. But in Fred Trump world's gentle spirit didn't survive.
I think Fred would have been very happy if he didn't have to compete. He had to compete. Because of the environment, he had to compete. And it ultimately ended up destroying him, and it was very sad, very sad. And ultimately, it was alcohol that just decimated him. And I'm glad I'm not a drinker. I mean, I've never had a drink in my life.
While Freddie struggled under their father's expectations, young Donald was watching, learning, adapting. He learned that in Fred Trump's world, there were only two types of people, winners and losers.
My new game is Trump the game.
Because it's not whether you win or lose, it's whether you win.
1975, the defining moment. Fred Trump hands his son, Donald, a check for $1 million. Some say it was way more, much more. But real story isn't about the money, it's about what came with it.
You have said that one of the most important aspects in your personality is winning. Why winning? What about it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game?
I like winning better. Look, we have to win.
Donald didn't just want to continue his father's legacy, he wanted to eclipse it. Queens and Brooklyn weren't enough. He set his sights on the ultimate prize, Manhattan.
What do you feel like when you look at that wonderful skyline?
Well, I look at that skyline, Barbara, and I really say it's the greatest in the world. I'd really like to buy everything if that were possible.
With a $70 million loan granted by his father, Donald made his first major Manhattan move, the Grand Hyatt Hotel.
Mr. Trump, what's left in your life? You're 33 years old, you're worth all this money. You say you didn't say that you want to be worth $1 billion.
No, I really don't. I just want to keep busy and keep active.
Could $1 billion buy the White House? What do you think?
Well,
Does
I don't
money
think it can.
give you?
I know a lot of the politicians. I like a lot of the politicians. They're friends of mine.
It was bold, it was risky. Then came Trump Tower, a gleaming testament to access, built on the same street where his father once worked as a carpenter's apprentice. But Donald Trump understood something. In modern America, perception is reality.
You gonna fight it to the bitter end?
I always fight to the bitter end, don't I? I believe that perhaps I'm portrayed differently than I actually am. I believe I'm portrayed in a rougher sense than the actual product. And I hope that's true, because I hope the actual product is a lot more mellow than the portrayal.
The Apprentice wasn't just a TV show. It was a masterclass in image making.
Steve, you're going to have to start pushing these people now a little bit, because it's getting a little ridiculous as far as I'm concerned.
Every week, 28 million Americans watched as Donald Trump played the role he had been rehearsing his entire life. The ultimate boss, the decision maker, the success story.
New York City, it's the benchmark for success. Believe me, I know. My name is Donald Trump, and I'm the largest developer in New York. I even have a television show. I thrive on energy. This isn't a game. I'm not playing games. Who will succeed? Who will fail? And who will be the apprentice? You're fired. You're fired. You're all fired. All four are fired.
2015 Trump Tower, as Donald Trump descended that golden escalator to announce his presidential run.
I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
The presidency wasn't just about power, it was about becoming something bigger than Fred Trump could have ever imagined.
Do you have the genes to be a successful politician?
Well, you never really know. I think I'm pretty outspoken, and that's not probably a good thing in terms of a politician, but it's a good thing if you ever got elected, you can really do a job.
Today, the Trump empire spans continents, from luxury hotels to golf courses, from television to politics.
I fought back, and I won.
Now my company's bigger than it ever was. It's stronger than it ever was. The reason my real estate is successful is they know if I put the name Trump on it, it's going to be the best.
But behind the golden facades and headline-grabbing tweets lies a story as old as time itself. A son's desperate quest to prove himself to a father who was impossible to please.
I am looking around this room. The White House might be a step down.
The White House is the White House. It's just a spectacular place. And, you know, it's something that represents something very special.
Some say Donald Trump turned $1 million into billions. Others say he inherited an empire and made it his own. But perhaps the truth is something else entirely. Perhaps he built something far more valuable than money could ever buy. A legacy.
What words would you use to describe Donald Trump?
I've always had great imagination. I've had great success with money. I've actually gotten along well with people over the years.
You're fired. 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 You're fired.
That's right, we'll fire Hillary. Hillary, you're fired. Let's go.
Hello, Mr. Trump. It's an honor to meet you. I was wondering what you would say to President Obama.
You're fired.